Hello Pookies fans, and welcome to episode 1 of what I am tentatively calling the Pookies Recording Files. In this series I'm going to break down how we recorded all your classic favourite Pookies tracks and provide little nuggets of information which I hope will be interesting if you are interested in production or recording or mixing. So the first episode is Pretend. As you can see up here, this is our first track that ever came out. And we recorded this at Cal's house in his garden studio, which is a lovely little space. And we set up the drums and mic'd all those up going into our Behringer XR18 mixer, which just allows us to get all those channels into the computer. And then the rest of it we did with guitar amps, and Cal recorded his vocals in the vocal booth. I did my bass at home because I'm a perfectionist and I don't like anyone else being around me when I record, because I want to do a million different takes until I get the right one. So first things first, this isn't going to be like a full mix breakdown of everything I've done in the mix. I'm only going to show you sort of really interesting stuff, stuff that you might find exciting or maybe a little bit unusual. So the first is this kick sub channel here. So what I've got is, because we don't have the most expensive microphones, we're using pretty, affordable, Behringer drum mics really. We don't have the luxury of having, a sub kick that we can just put on the kick channel. We don't have, unlimited mic channels to use. So what I've done is I've taken a copy of the kick mic, which was just like a Behringer kick mic, just similar to like a B52 or something, a B52. And I've copied that and I've put this plugin by Waves Factory on. This is the SK10. And this is a sub-kick simulator, as you can see down here. And all that's doing is, I think it's basically just filtering off a lot of the high end and providing sort of like an EQ curve to the low end. So it just makes it sound as if it was recorded with a sub-kick mic. For those who don't know, that is essentially a speaker, like a studio monitor or like a PA speaker that has got a microphone output on it. So the way that this microphone, for example, this is a 57, this is effectively a speaker in reverse, and vice versa, a speaker is a microphone in reverse. So if you can use a speaker as a speaker, you can also use it as a microphone, and that's exactly what the sub kick is doing. So this just provides a lot of low end to the kick, and I've beefed it up with some samples which are from the John Lennon Instant Karma pack. I can't remember who did them, it might have been Reverb. And that's just beefing up the snare, beefing up the kick a little bit, just to provide a little more punch. What have we got next? So the bass, I've done a trick which I learnt from Produce Like a Pro. Warren Hewitt will always talk about this trick because it's great. And big shout out to Warren, because I learned a lot of how to mix from just watching his live streams and his videos. So what I've got here is the bass DI. So this is just my bass plugged directly into my interface. And I also decided to mic up my amp on this day, which I wouldn't normally do, to be honest, because I always just end up using DIs anyway. But in this case I did that and I've used the amp. So what I've done with the bass DI is hold off everything above 200 hertz basically. So I've got just the low end of this DI bass. The amp, I've done the opposite. So I've rolled off everything below 200 hertz. I've just taken out a little bit of 285 because it's sort of that honky low mid horribleness of the bass that I don't like. Sum those all together, and what you get is a lovely compressed low end on the bass. I've done some quite aggressive compression on the DI on that low end information, so I can get a really consistent low end. And then on the amp, I can get all the articulation, all the clarity from there. I've not compressed that as heavily just so I get a bit more dynamic range out of my playing. I can go quieter if I want, I can go louder if I want, but that low end is always going to be consistent. The keys, I've used this chorus plugin, which I absolutely love to death, this Tal Chorus LX. This is based on like a Roland Juno 60 chorus, the chorus that's built into those synths, and this works as a chorus but also kind of like a stereo widener. So I absolutely love the sound of this. It's just so lush and so kind of soupy, but it just brings a little bit of interest, so the keys aren't just, you know, it just widens them out a little bit, because if you look at where this is panned, it's just slightly off center, so there's a chance that could, you know, interfere with the vocals. So I've just widened it out a little bit, provide a little bit of excitement and just a little bit of spice, and I like it, so I'm going to do it. So I'm not going to have anyone tell me otherwise. Guitars are pretty bog standard, just deluxe reverb, and I've used this again on setting 2. This is like a faster chorus. One is slower, 2 is faster, and I've got that full stereo width, but then they're hard pan left and right anyway, so it's not really doing a great deal. It's with the wideness. It's just, I like the sound of chorus, and I think it works well on this track, so that's why I put it on. Cal's vocals. Cal's vocals have got a whopping great vocal chain on them for some reason. I've put some Waves tune on because it's very difficult to get away these days with having a completely raw, untuned vocal. And Cal's voice sounds absolutely great out of the box. As soon as he steps in that booth, he will give it his absolute all. I think we only did about like 3-4 takes of this song, and you know, he pretty much nailed it first time. It was just, you know, for options and doing the various parts and the harmonies and things. But radio in the modern age, in the digital streaming age, everyone is using auto-tune, and there's no getting away from that. I'm not trying to bash auto-tune or anyone who uses auto-tune in that way. It's just the way it is, and you know, I'm only doing light amounts of tuning, really. It's nothing crazy. I mean, you can see from these peaks and troughs that it's not, you know, a flat line against the note. So a flat line would mean it's the pitch of the note is completely consistent. There's no variation, no vibrato whatsoever. But you can see they're still quite wiggly, so a lot of the character of Cal's voice is still in this performance. I've tried not to completely erase it. So I've got Cal's vocal going into the Abbey Road plates for some reverb, which I absolutely love. That provides a lot of the character, like the vintage sort of character of that reverb. And then it's also going to a longer reverb as well. And I've split these into different channels for the different parts of the song. I'm not really sure why I did that. I think I probably just wanted to do just a lot of different processing on each one. I didn't want to have to automate it to change too much, so I thought it was easy to just split it into 3 channels. And you can see, if you look at this here, these green knobs there, I'm just putting more reverb on when we get to the chorus, just because there's more instruments coming into the fray. So Cal just needs a little bit more space around his voice, because a lot of that reverb will be swallowed up by just other instruments joining the fray. That's all there is really to say about the mix and the recording. I mean, it was mastered by Pete Mayer, who is fantastic because he's got a really affordable rate for independent and unsigned bands, and he gets the job done so quickly. Like we blink and the master's ready, and it sounds fantastic. So yeah, we love Pete, great guy. So that, I think, brings this episode to a close. I might make more of these if you watch them. If you don't watch them, I'm not going to bother, because there's no point. So if you like them, watch them, and like them and share them and comment on them, so I know that you like them, and that will tell me to do more. So hopefully I will see you for an episode 2. and God bless.